What's up, guys? This is my 1988 Toyota 4Runner. Today I'm going to try to explain to you why these are actually a good car to drive. I mean, I daily it still. I've owned it for 8 years. It is a 3.0 V6 engine code 3VZE, and they use this from 88 onwards, mainly in the 4Runner, and in the pickup too. Definitely in the pickup. So this engine does have a head gasket problem because the exhaust manifold is tucked down from the passenger side, comes around behind the engine and convenes with the driver's side exhaust manifold right on cylinder, I believe it's number 6. And so the head bolts aren't exactly, well, they're metal. They expand and contract. Eventually they contract and expand so much that they will no longer contract to the original size. And then what's this? Bearing cap bolts. I don't know. This is actually from a 87 Toyota Supra inline 6, and that fits in there. You just have to tweak it a little bit in order to adjust for the air-fuel ratio. EGR was removed. When I actually removed it, I got an additional 2 to 3 miles per gallon. So right now I'm sitting at 17 miles per gallon while I'm running some 31-inch tires. They're actually 265 75 16s. The rims came off a 2000 4Runner SR5. I bought this machine at 170,000 miles, and the head gasket went out at 200,000 miles. Currently it's 220,000, but when I did the head gasket, since all of this has to come off and all of that has to come off, you might as well do your intake gaskets, change out any injectors, checking all your wiring, change your timing belt, your water pump. I don't know, man, there's a decent amount of stuff under there, but all in all, this thing's pretty simple. It looks like a lot, but there's really not much to it once you get to know it. Great car, great reliability. At 220,000. Found these door panels on eBay. It had door panels from a pickup in here when I bought it. It does have the 2 door handles, one for little kids coming out of the back, one for us up in front. The markings up here are still in pretty good shape. It still gives you all the transfer case instructions, grease points, and then your rollover warning. Side's empty. The rockers could be better, but up in front they look fine and come along a little bit. And then right back here is where they went bad, for me at least. I don't know if that's what other people have to deal with too, but that's what happened to me. I also had a rust hole right here, right on that crack. Let's take a look at the frame on this side, see what we're dealing with. Once again, it's not too bad at all. It is a tube frame, so the overall weight of this vehicle is, I believe it's approximately 5,000 pounds, so 2.5 tons. But for being factory spray, underspray and everything, she's held up pretty well. I have never had a problem with it cold starting. One time I did, so I can't say never, but the plug for my cold start injector just popped up a little bit, and that was the only reason why. Negative 20 fires right up. Runs great. I'm probably going to sell this one soon, honestly. So from the factory, this thing was fully loaded. It has power mirrors, rear defroster, clutch start cancel, deck light, cruise control, you know, power antenna. It had power windows at one time, I swear. But something happened to it. This door was replaced. They got rid of all the power. The AC is in here. It does work if I throw some charge in it, so I'm planning on fixing that, converting that to 134 this summer. I do have the 5-speed manual. I have done the clutch, the how to make a transmission mount, the pressure plates, throw out bearings. The clutch was a little bit of a nightmare because one piece went after another. I did replace the carpet in this machine. The factory, but I went with black. In the rear, I actually have some living room carpet for now, but I plan on getting a normal carpet for back there that would match this. Just have to do some research and find a good deal on one. Nice thing about these cars is parts are still relatively cheap. Mechanical parts, body parts are getting harder to find. There's a place in Canada though, they sell quarters and everything for this. I do have a little bit of quarter rusted right there. Tailgate. Let's get your fingers in it. It's a little rough. This side's in decent shape also. I mean, the window trim is a little funky, but what do you expect? And as you can see, the frame on this car is in actually really good shape. I haven't restored it or anything. I mean, towards the back a little bit. Gets a little bit rusty. Leaf springs, of course, have the ever so common first generation sag. They do not accommodate for the weight of the top. Which kind of just means that, you know, over time, it's more weight than a pickup's bed would have had, because this is actually the long bed pickup with a top on it. That's how this car started. In Wisconsin. Brookfield, Wisconsin. You know, I do have manual hubs. Prefer these a lot compared to the automatic. Automatic just seemed like a bad idea. I had one, well, these were automatic when I got the car. I put in 4 and it just got stuck right away all the time. Couldn't even get out of a little hole it was sitting in, so manual hubs is the way to go, in my opinion. I do have the factory sunroof. Yeah, it's actually pretty nice. Pops open. It does come out if you want it to. Rear window does work half the time. Replace the shocks on it, U-joints, CV axles, front end components. Fuel filter. I did have to replace the coil once. That was weird. Not quite sure why that happened still. Power steering is not hooked up, but that doesn't really matter because it's pretty easy to steer regardless. New radiator. A lot of guys complain their 3VZ's hard to start, and I mean, it's probably coming down to a wiring issue, a ground, something's wrong, because this is how they pretty much should run. That's it. I mean, when she's running, she is running. She doesn't want to die at all. Fires right up. Keeps running, you know. Crank windows or regulators only about 20 bucks. Plenty of oil pressure. I think my temp gauge is lying because this hasn't been ran in a couple of hours. It's pretty neat. Now supposedly these vehicles from the factory have a tow capacity of 6,500 pounds. And a good way to tell if you do have one that is meant for towing is if you have an expansion tank off your radiator. Pretty simple way to tell, so then you won't overheat. Overall, I'd say they're very reliable, very dependable, but the ride quality is not the best, you know. It is meant as more of a utilitarian vehicle. Definitely gets a lot of looks on the road. Cannot lie about that, but reliability, I'll give it an 8 or a 9. Drivability, 7. Brakes are oversized from the factory, so I don't have to worry about those. If you want to put 33s on it, a lot of people are like, oh, the brakes suck. I don't have that issue. You got something wrong with your equipment then. Put Assini parts in it, that's my recommendation. Don't go with the super cheap stuff. Assini made a lot of the factory things. They made the lockers, they made my slave, they made my master. They make good parts for these cars.